Can the Phillies bounce back in the second half? Is it really that bad? Can the Phillies maintain their momentum in the latter half of the season? After facing a challenging schedule to wrap up the first half, the Phillies are greeted with a bit of a respite as they kick off the second half against a struggling Los Angeles Angels team at home. However, it's worth noting that they faced a similarly lackluster opponent at the start of the second half in 2024, and it didn't turn out well for them. They suffered a loss in their first game back from the break against the Pirates, largely due to a blown save by Jose Alvarado, which effectively marked the end of his role as the team's closer. Fortunately, we won't encounter that issue this year. Is there a lingering Jose Alvarado dilemma for the Phillies? This is certainly not the question they wanted to grapple with right after the All-Star break. That unfortunate loss initiated a disheartening 7-16 stretch, leading many to believe the season was spiraling out of control. Even I, an optimistic fan, found myself questioning things at times. Thankfully, the team managed to regroup and performed admirably for the remainder of the season, at least until the playoffs. In a peculiar twist of the schedule, the Angels are the first of 7 consecutive American League teams the Phillies will face. The #Phillies are set to commence the second half of the season with an impressive 21 straight games against American League clubs. Their next encounter with a National League team won't occur until August 11th, resulting in a 29-day stretch without facing any NL opponents. In previous years, such a scenario could have spelled disaster, but the Phillies have fared well against AL teams in recent seasons, boasting records of 28-18 in 2023, 26-20 in 2024, and 11-7 thus far this season. The caliber of opponents during this AL-exclusive stretch varies significantly, ranging from formidable teams like the Tigers to decent squads like the Yankees and Red Sox, down to mediocre teams like the Rangers, and even struggling teams like the Orioles and White Sox. While this isn't the easiest stretch they could face, it's certainly not an insurmountable challenge either. As for the outlook for the second half of the season, I firmly believe that, barring a series of injuries, the Phillies are poised to make the playoffs. Their rotation is in a strong position, giving them a starting pitching advantage on most days, which is crucial over the course of a grueling 162-game season. However, it's important to note that this is not a guarantee. Their offense has been solid but not exceptional, and the bullpen has struggled significantly. There is a strong possibility that both of these areas could see improvement in the second half, and the Phillies are expected to be active buyers as the trade deadline approaches. That said, I don't anticipate any miraculous acquisitions, as none of the rumored names have particularly excited me. I still don't understand the hype surrounding Steven Kwan. As long as the Phillies are aiming high, and nobody aims high quite like Dave Dombrowski, perhaps they could take a run at landing both Clace and Steven Kwan from Cleveland. At Jeff Passan. It has been quite some time, since Hunter Pence in 2011, since the Phillies made a significant trade at the deadline. In recent years, their returns from deadline deals have been underwhelming, and it seems that most of the relievers they have acquired mid-season have either been mildly disappointing, like Ian Kennedy and David Robertson, or complete failures, such as Brandon Workman and Heath Hembree. I believe that if the Phillies are to improve in the second half, that enhancement will largely need to come from within the team. With that in mind, here are some predictions regarding players who may perform better or worse in the latter half of the season. Better Jordan Romano. After a season largely marred by injury, Romano had a disastrous start to this season. Although he has shown some improvement since then, his performance has been inconsistent from game to game. He has displayed glimpses of his former all-star caliber, and the hope is that as he continues to recover from his injury, he will be able to string together a series of strong performances. Worse, Jesus Luzardo. Another player returning from an injury-plagued season, Luzardo has been either outstanding or abysmal in his starts. I am concerned that the significant increase in innings pitched from last year may be catching up to him, and we could see more of those poor outings as the season progresses. I much prefer the version of Jesus Luzardo that racks up strikeouts rather than the one who allows hits to nearly everyone. Better Bryce Harper. Even when healthy, Harper's performance in the first half was not particularly impressive. We may have reached a point where Harper can no longer sustain a full MVP caliber season, but as we witnessed last year, he can still deliver exceptional performances for a couple of months at a time. I believe he will step up during the stretch run. Worse, Kyle Schwarber. After a strong start to the season, Schwarber has cooled off significantly. While he will still hit some home runs, as evidenced by his performance in the All-Star game, the at-bats in between those home runs have not been very productive. Better Aaron Nola. Aside from a few standout performances, Nola's first half was largely disappointing. He struggled on the mound and missed considerable time due to an ankle injury that unexpectedly developed into a stress fracture in his ribs. Earlier, I speculated that he might return in a relief role, but with Mick Abel back in the minors and Andrew Painter not making a strong case for himself, I believe Nola will return to the rotation and resemble the reliable starter he has been in previous years. Worse, Ranger Suarez. After a delayed start to the season, Suarez has been phenomenal and arguably even better than Zach Wheeler. However, history suggests that Suarez struggles to maintain peak performance throughout an entire season. Perhaps the late start will allow him to sustain this level of play, but I am concerned that he has been so exceptional that a decline is inevitable. Better JT Realmuto. You might think that a catcher with a heavy workload would wear down as the season progresses, but Realmuto has consistently performed better in the second half over the past few years. There were moments in the first half when he appeared to be struggling at the plate, but he has been on fire in July, and I anticipate that this trend will continue. Prediction. Sometimes, as fans, we become too engrossed in the teams we support and focus excessively on their shortcomings. While the Phillies certainly have their flaws, it's essential to remember that every other team faces challenges as well. The Dodgers are still grappling with their bullpen issues and dealing with their usual rotation struggles, while the Mets have already experienced a phase where it seemed they were on the verge of collapse. While the Phillies' rotation may not be as dominant as it was in the first half, I believe that strong performances from Harper and Realmuto will help propel the Phillies to their second consecutive NL East title.